Welcome back to another episode of Essence, our new sub-series on the Modern Woman Show, where we are having badass women who are saying yes to life and are leading their own lives come and talk to us about their essence. Jacqueline will start by giving a short astro reading, and from there, we'll discuss how our astrology plays a role in the way we show up in our lives.
Thanks, Bri. I'm so excited to be here with you. And as we keep talking about astrology and, the way we really look at it is a powerful tool for growth and discovery so that we can get insights into who we really are. And I use astrology to make decisions, better decisions for myself than maybe I would have been able to, without knowing some of these insights. And today, we are thrilled to have Erica Ballard as our guest. Erica Ballard is a skilled storyteller and marketer and coach, known for her open and balanced approach, blending science with a touch of intuition. Clients appreciate her ability to provide answers, and they describe her as radically transparent. I have to agree.
Yeah.
Erica's personal journey involved overcoming challenges to rediscover herself, and now she's dedicated to helping others on a smoother path to self-discovery. Beyond her holistic experience, she holds degrees from Tufts University School of Medicine and Indiana University, along with various certifications in coaching and wellness practices. She's been featured in Forbes, Women's Health, and several other publications, including being a regular on CBS 4 Denver and CBS 4 Indianapolis. She shares her insights and commitment to empowering others on all of those platforms. So we're really excited to have Erica join us today on the show.
Wow. Talk about capable and accomplished. Like, whew. I'm so excited to meet her.
Right. Hi. Welcome, Erica.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Welcome. Yes, we are beyond elated to have you on the show today. If you don't mind just starting us off by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I know I was going to be asked this question, but I laugh now because I'm like, who am I? What is it that I want to share now? Because Jacqueline knows this. It's been a journey. It's been a journey these past 12 months. So a little bit about me. I live in Denver, Colorado. I'm a mom. I'm a marketer. I'm a coach. Story is my favorite thing in the entire world. I have been on a journey towards finding myself and the things that make me happy for quite a while now, and I feel like I've landed the plane and I'm getting used to the new time zone. So it's a really fun place to be, where your identity isn't your work or the things you are, but I have to talk about them because I live in this world. So yeah, I that feels like a good intro into how my brain works and who I am.
I absolutely love that. Awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, Bri and I are super excited that you were open to joining us on the show because, one, you're amazing, and two, you haven't been as, like you said, as marketing yourself as much as you have in the past. And so I feel special. We have a diamond situation here, and so I'm going to take advantage of it.
Okay, great. It's so weird to take a quote unquote take a break, but I'm what does it look like to live my life outside of the internet? And it's been a fascinating journey because I still coach, I still care about all the things that I've cared about, but it's I've just been asking myself, how do I want to show up every day? And I don't think I can be online and figure that out right now.
Oh, I already have chills. It only took a minute.
Yeah, I'm wow, tell me more.
Oh, yeah. Let's just talk about this instead. But thank you, Erica, for that intro. We're really excited to talk about your astrology chart today, your sun, moon, and rising. And what's interesting is that Erica, we've been dear friends for several years now. And so I've looked at your astrology chart a few times and insights about your chart, but I really am excited to share, high level some of the things and really get your feedback and your take on how those things land or don't land now in this version of you. Because obviously we're all transforming all the time, and these things show up or don't in different moments of our life. So, I mean, obviously, you know, we on the show, and at least I do, and I think you and I are aligned on this, we think about astrology as a path, as a map for growth, showing us indicators of, you know, how we are really set up to be as a person, our essence. And they aren't like predictors of the future or anything like that. It's really about our growth path. And I think it's the most personalized growth plan that we could possibly have for ourselves. Personally, that's my take on it.
I mean, you haven't been wrong. So
appreciate that. And yeah, for me, it's not about being wrong or right. I just love the interaction between what the chart says and how you live your life, and how those things can connect and be supportive in your, I don't know, awareness and life. So with that, we'll get started if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. I know all the pre stuff. Okay. So first I'm going to start by sharing really an overall theme that your chart shares about your life and how you show up in the world. Your life takes on the theme of showing up as the revolutionary, bearing the soul of the earth lover, wearing the mask of the detective. So I'm going to break all that down. So the first thing that I'm drawn to in your chart, and I have it open if you see me look away, is the sun. And the sun is the first thing we start with, because it's really the center. It's you, it's your being, it's your identity, your self-image. When you think about, you know, your ego, which is the center of your mind, it's just like that. Like the sun is the center of the solar system. So I think it's super obvious, but it just describes who you are, what makes you feel more confident, and where you can find your personal strength. Your sun is in Aquarius in the 3rd house. So when we break that down even more, we think about the 3rd house of communication. We think about information gathering, we think about sharing, and success here really looks like having a really clear, open-minded view of things, and about sharing yourself in a free way, and not being, you know, too stubborn about your view, but being like just very open and kind of going with the flow. However, the Aquarius energy brings a little bit of a twist to that. And the way the Aquarius shows up is really being an innovator, an original, an intellectual, and being, you know, someone who brings unique ideas to the table and is really progressive and brings, you know, all of the independence and freedom that we strive for as a human race, brings those forward and is really ahead of their time. And you're shaking your head. I've told you this before. You know this before, but
I was like, this makes me sound so great. Like I'm here for this description of me. I'm here for it.
Well, okay. Let me ask you this. So that's, you know, kind of generic and high level. When we were all talking before we hit record today, you're talking about like, oh, you know, I love connecting with people who like to talk about weird things. This is central to that, like talking, house of communication.
Yeah.
And I'm like taking a shortcut here. House of communication, talk about weird things. I mean, Aquarius is kind of the weird sign in a good way.
No, I believe I'm weird for sure.
And it like makes you shine. It makes you feel like more alive and confident. But yeah, I was curious if you had any initial like what reactions, or if this shows up for you in any other ways that we haven't talked about today.
Well, it's interesting. So it's like the first thing is like, is sun the thing that we all associate with like astrology?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. Like, for as much as you tell me, there are these moments where I'm like, is that a fucking thing? Is that like, did I hear her right after like 6 years? So yes, that felt really nice. I don't know much. It's interesting. The personality part, and the ego way that you describe it. I don't know much about that because I've been so learning about this like South Node, North Node, like movement. But it does sound right. And I think what's interesting is that the way that you have described Aquarius, right, and sun sign is like ego is like the things that you listed. While I'm like, yeah, that makes me sound great. They're also the things from like an egoic place, right, that like have gotten me in trouble in my life. So it's this sort of interesting dynamic of like, yeah, I care about science and academia, but often to a fault, right? And then it's like I want to be free, but often to a fault. And it's like when I rely on the ego, it's like I trip myself too far to the left or too far to the right, whichever one, you know. But yeah, I mean, the detective piece, which, you know, like that is like, that's, I can't not have the truth. I can be open, but like, I need to like actually know what the heck is
100%.
going on. Yeah.
That word came to me as I was going, you know, preparing for a conversation today. But we'll get to that.
I'll say
That piece. No, of course. And for, you know, Sun in Aquarius, of course, you know, there's so many caveats for all of these signs. Like there's obviously stuff to watch out for. And you even mentioned it, kind of like maybe tilting too far, in your opinion, the other way. It can also be an energy of alienation easily, because you're like, I've heard from Aquarius placements where it's like, I'm strange. Am I too strange? You know, valuing uniqueness, but then avoiding isolating yourself can be really tough. And, you know, still contributing your ideas and ensuring that you're still like raising the collective, because that's also what Aquarius really stands for, is like humanitarian efforts and like making things better for people, helping with the community. But it's like this, like, okay, I have to kind of stand out a little bit and give these ideas or work in a way that's going to help everybody, but they think I'm weird. So do I go back down? Like, what is it?
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's like my middle school experience, right? Middle school and
really?
high school experience. It's an interesting piece where like, you know, you're different, but like you don't want to be, but you are. And I think that that's what all of this, the reason like I love this as a map is like, it just helps you understand that what you're feeling is normal. Because yeah, I you know, I look at all these like memes on astrology, even though I like barely know what it means, but like it always makes sense to me. It's like Aquarius, like wants to be included, but doesn't want to show up, like things like that. And so yeah, everything you're saying totally resonates with my life.
I love memes. Oh my goodness. Especially astrology memes that I don't understand very well. I'm like, ooh, there's more to that. It's like an indicator as to where I want to study. Another thing with Aquarius, and I'll, you know, move on after that if you'd like to, but I wanted to also manage. I wanted to think through what like managing impatience looks like a little bit. Not that I'm like pulling it out of you or seeing it in you, but I know that the energy of Aquarius is like modern movement, moving things forward. Like I have progressive ideas. How come nobody is keeping up? Like, come on, people, this is the better way forward. And so, you know, kind of going beyond conventional processes could be another caveat or burning point for you. I don't know, maybe not anymore. Maybe you're so like patient in your new life.
Of course not. Of course I'm not that patient. It's like, of course not. I think there's a lot of understanding, particularly for people who are not in my immediate circle.
Sure.
But it's so funny. I was talking about this with a friend, actually. I'm like, the moment I realize what's right or like what's going to work, I just go. Like once the shift is made, like I don't understand how people don't hit the gas pedal. Yeah. So it's not that I don't understand, but like, I just watch it and I'm like, but a decision was made and it's so clear. And so like, let's just do this thing. So yeah, I definitely feel that. I feel that.
I love that. I've seen that in our conversations.
In you. Yeah. I know you've seen it in
You're
me.
you're like, one day you're like, I have this idea. I might do this and this and this. And then a week later, you're like, oh, I already did that, created it and launched it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a great trait to have.
At times.
Yeah. Awesome. So that's Sun in Aquarius.
Okay.
I wanted to move into your moon.
Is that my Scorpio? No.
We're not there yet.
What is a moon? Can you start there? What is a moon?
Yep, I will start there. So the moon is the statement that I shared at the beginning of our conversation today. I shared that you're bearing the soul of the earth lover. So the moon is your soul.
Ah, okay.
And the moon is about your feelings, your mood, your fears. It shows you how to learn how to feel and express your emotions, what sensitivity looks like for you, how to like soothe and nurture yourself on an emotional level. That's the moon.
Okay.
And so for you, the reason why I tagged it as earth lover for you, because it's in the energy of Taurus in the 6th house. So Taurus is that earth lover piece. Yes.
Okay. Just for clarification.
Yeah.
Is your moon and your, not sun, moon and the other thing that you are going to tell me about?
Rising.
Are those your south and north nodes? Or like, am I just one of those people who have the same ones?
You're just one of those people who have the same ones.
Okay, cool. All right. My moon, Taurus.
No, you're good. So your north and south node, and this, you know what? I thought it was an interesting parallel because I had that same situation where your north node is the same as your moon and your south node is the same as your rising. So your north node's in Taurus and your south node is in Scorpio. And I don't know if you think of it any more plainly than this, but your north node is like the energy of what you're going toward, what you're learning in this lifetime and how you're like transforming. And the south node is where you're coming from and what's familiar to you. And that's Scorpio for you. Okay. So your north node and your moon are the same.
Awesome.
Which is kind of cool because if you think about it, the energy of Taurus and like nurturing that not only nurtures your soul and your heart, but it's also who you're kind of here to show up as you go through life.
Okay.
So on that note, it's in the 6th house of Taurus. And the 6th house is really the house of health, of wellness, of your daily work, your routines. It's about service, helping others. It's also about pets, which I was sharing with Bri earlier. Pet, it's interesting, like really small parallel, but I just remember, and this is only because I know you, but you created that dog park several years ago.
Oh yeah.
And that was probably really nurturing for you.
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to project, so maybe not, I don't know.
Oh, good.
But anyway, so 6th house, moon in Taurus. So Taurus is the energy of stability, of groundedness, of loyalty. It's really the energy of the earth. It's the energy of nature. And so one of the, advice that typically is good for a Taurus is like, oh, be in nature. That'll soothe you. It's good for everybody to be in nature, but especially that Taurus energy. And it's probably, especially with your moon in that energy, it's probably super nurturing for you to be in nature. But normally a Taurus moon will show up as like emotionally very stable.
I think I'm stable emotionally now. I would say that.
Now. I was curious what your reaction was going to be to that, but it tracks. Yeah. A moon in Taurus usually finds comfort in like a very predictable routine. Maybe not. Cool. It's also very practical energy. So like resources are plentiful in the Taurus energy. Lots of like material, not gain necessarily for selfish, although it could, always swing that way. But Taurians have it's very abundant energy.
We're resourceful beings. Very
resourceful, very physical, very cozy, and like luxurious in a sense. And yeah, just might prefer stability versus unexpected changes. That might be most nurturing and Taurus as well. And so when you think of it in the area of your 6th house, which is the area of like work and what you do on a day-to-day basis and health and wellness, I think about the changes that you've made in your work life and how that's probably impacted you emotionally as well. But I'll pause for a second. Was that clear?
Oh, it was very clear.
Okay. I'm curious how it resonates with you or not.
I think that the nature piece does. I'm pregnant, I'm happy, I'm all the things. And it's really fucking up the nature thing. So at not being there, is, yeah, I can feel the effects of it. And I can know because I know what it feels like to be out in nature every week, like on a mountain by myself. So I know I know what that feels like. And not having that doesn't feel good. The interesting piece, like I like routine. I think you're right. But I have found a lot of joy as of late in the unknown. So it's like I feel you in the grounded component of it. Like I'm not there yet, but working in, I don't think that's fair to myself. I think I'm a fairly grounded human being, but like really grounding in, I feel that matters. And like being in a space that I love matters. But I actually really miss the unknown and not knowing what my days will look like. So the predictability ish, but they're like moments that I really love. I love not knowing how things are going to develop and pop, but like being sure that they will. And maybe that's it. Like, I'm just sure they will now. It's all going to work out. Like, I don't have that doubt, but I like the unknown of how it will.
Bri, I see you shaking your head.
I'm just like soaking that in too. Like, I don't know. I resonate with that a little bit as well, but I'm just very in it, like listening to and very drawn into Erica, like the way she is speaking.
But I would say the thing that I think is interesting is like, you're right from a stability standpoint, like that stuff really mattered to me, and having that practicality matter. Like, be practical is like very, like, I can't with the impractical. It's not that I can't with the impractical, but like it has to make sense. But yeah, it's something I craved for a while, the stability component. Now that I'm here, I think it does free me up. I think that when I hear that, like the predictability, the groundedness, like that's where it feels like it hits. It's not like the routine of the day.
Right.
It's like the stability enables the creativity and the enjoyment of the unknown. But like a morning routine, yeah, I'm down with. But like, I don't know. I loved taking my daughter out to wherever, whenever, and not knowing what the fuck would happen. Like, I really took a lot of joy in that.
No. I love that. I was looking to see what aspects affect this placement. And I don't know, TBD, but that all makes sense. Thank you for sharing. You kept saying practical, and I just can't say enough. Like, Taurus is practical. Plus, you're just
but isn't it funny though? Like, I think the more you do this, like practical isn't like it makes sense to the world. Like,
right.
I'm sure we'll get into this with the Scorpio component, because I just learned this about Scorpio. Like, I just know when it works, it doesn't. Like, it's not practical because the world says it's practical. I just understand how you put the pieces together, even if it sounds improbable. So like, that's what I mean when I say practical too. It's not like A plus B equals C. Like, A minus B can equal Z for all I care. But I just need to, like, as long as it makes sense in my brain. I don't know.
That makes sense. What you just said makes sense. Wrestling with you. I've seen you wrestle with concepts until they make sense. Yeah. And if they don't, then you're like, maybe move on.
Yeah. Because I can skip steps, is what you told me. And I feel like I do. Like, so if I can see steps skipped, even if it's like the practical thing would be like, do A, B, then C. But if I'm like, I gotta just skip B and C to get to D, like, that makes sense to me.
That's funny.
Reach. I'm just like, yes. It almost just feels like you intuitively can connect the dots, and that's the practicality for you. Like, when you're able to make that like intuitive connection of like, oh, got it. That's the equation. Like, that I totally resonate with that of like, yeah, but we can also get to Z by all these other areas too. So it's, yeah.
Yeah. Like 2, 4, and 16, right? Like we don't
Yeah.
have to take the alphabet to Z. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Bri and I were actually talking about that earlier. Skipping steps, and that's part of the manifesting generator in you. It's such a gift. That's another episode I think that we've already done before together, but yeah, you can totally skip steps.
Right.
Yeah, right. Which is also probably a great thing as a detective, which is the piece that I feel like you were ready to skip to.
Oh, maybe.
Which is where we are now. Your
Okay.
Scorpio rising is a detective.
Mm.
And you said you learned this last week, so I'm really curious how this tracks. But so the rising sign in anybody's chart is the sign that is like setting when you're born, basically. And so for you, it's in your first house, which is the house of self identity. And so this is how, like, I called it a mask at the beginning of our conversation. It's like how you show up in the world is how other people see you, or you show up as the detective.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So really this energy possesses, like, it's very magnetic. It's very intense. It gets down to the bottom of things. Just a ton of depth here. So it's like a magnetic in that it's very intense and it draws people in, almost like there's a mystery that they want to know more about, but only you ultimately know the mystery, because the energy of Scorpio can be very reserved, but extremely observant.
Yeah.
So like navigating any situation with tons of depth and like hitting all the details, but also having this equally intense like passion and determination as you move through anything in life, whether it's like a challenge or, I don't know, a project, not a non-challenge. Like there's just like this intensity to the Scorpio energy. And so, okay, wait, I'll pause because there's way more, but curious how that resonates.
So I want to make sure I'm understanding this right. So my rising is being in the first house. It's like, this is how I see myself and how people see myself. How people see me.
This is how other people see you, and this is how you show up, and this is most likely how the energy that you resonate with. The thing is, the first house usually tracks with another sign too. So you probably see yourself a little bit as the Scorpio sign, and then there's like other energies at play, of course, as usual.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think I would say that most people would see me as pretty determined and intense at times. I think we can all agree that people have seen me as passionate and intense before.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the mask is right, a right description, because I'm not that person. I was that person, but I'm not, I care about things, but I'm not like, I'm no longer like, this must get done or else. Now I'm like, all right, it'll get done. Like there's not this like run to the finish line. Like there's things I want to accomplish now that I just know will get done.
Mm-hmm.
But the things I want to do are very much tied to the questioning piece. But again, the mask, like the questioning piece now on where I am in my self journey, I'm like, I don't know a fucking answer. Like, I don't know. I don't know anything, but I know enough. Do you know, like the mask piece of all that resonate, because I do think that that's how people have seen me. That's who I thought I had to portray to get to where I wanted to be. And now as I'm unraveling it, I'm like, is it? Like, is that how I have to be? I care a lot about a lot of things. That is true. But like, I don't feel like I need to muscle or prove as much as I used to. Because my inquiry, the detective piece was, now that I'm talking through it, this is a big one, is that it was like, that is how I was able to prove my intellect. And now I really don't care if you think I'm smart or not. Like, I don't care because I am, but I don't need to lead with it anymore. You know?
It's
Mhm.
almost like you're describing that ego component again, wrapping back to
Yeah.
when you were talking about that earlier. It was like, yeah, when you're like letting that lead you more, it was like more of that intensity, that like need to know for that external component. But like now that seems mute.
Yeah, until I'm like in my own shit. But like for the most part, it's like
Fair.
but it goes back to like also I think the knowledge of like the south to north node journey too, like understanding that like who I think I have to be and who I am, right? Which is essentially the rising and the moon, from what I understand you're saying. I
Mhm.
know now that they're different. Like I know it. And so I know I don't have to be this person. So like I love where I work and they're all really passionate and I care a lot. Like if anyone's listening, I care a lot. But there's not this like, it's got to get done in me so that you trust that I can do it. Like I just get it. Like it just makes sense. So I'm going to move at a pace that isn't maybe doesn't feel as intense, but I'm doing it to be more thoughtful than to come off as thoughtful, you know?
Mm. Right. Because your intellect is who you are.
Who I
Aquarius.
thought I had to be. My intellect is who I thought I had to be.
It's who you are.
I don't know though. Is that who I am?
It's part of who you are. Like the Aquarian energy in your sun being in there, that's just part of your being is intellect. So
Okay.
like you don't have to try to come off that way. You just are that.
But I thought I had to come off that way.
Mm.
Yes. Okay. I'm with you.
And you are, I love that you brought in the South and North Node. And I know that you've been studying that journey and using the energy of the South Node to transform into the North Node. And at first it was like this, like, how do I get there? And then it's like evolved into this inherent trust of
Yeah.
we're going to get there, which has been really cool to see. And I think about where your North Node is stationed in Taurus, which has this inherent trust and this like pace, this like it's determined pace, but it's not a fast pace. It's kind of like slow and steady a little bit. It's like it's going to happen. We're going to get there little bit by little bit. Like, let's not worry about it.
Yeah.
And that's what you're describing.
Yeah. It's interesting too. It's like, and as we're talking about the intellect piece, it's so funny because I either like play too much into it or don't play it up enough. I think that that's been a big part of my journey in all of this of like letting it just be what it needs to be instead of playing a role in the definition of me, you know, because it's like I know it's like this is who I am, but then because I'm a weirdo, right, I think about like what are we really, and really I'm just like a soul in this body, and what I am is a child of God. So like does it even, and then but it's like, but how I'm showing up, like it's good to know how I show up. Like it's a nice map. Like, well, this is how you normally show up to people and yourself. It's okay. I don't know.
I love what you're describing right now. Like the questions of the universe, life's philosophies, which are in the ninth house. And I'm looking at right now, no major placements there, but it's in the energy of Leo, which is like the leader. And a lot of that information that you're uncovering right now, has previously been hidden to you and us.
Yeah.
Which is the 12th house, the unconscious, what's unseen. And that's where your Pluto is, which is intense transformation, and your South Node. And it's in Scorpio, which is just like so much depth. So like depth of thought, depth of connection sounds like is really important to you based on your chart. I know you, so I know like that's has resonated.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like, ooh, does it resonate with this version of you?
Yeah, I do. I think it matters. I think the Taurus piece to me continues to be interesting Because it's like, yes, everything you're saying is true. And with those connections, right? Like from what I understand about astrology, is those things matter, but like in a different way, where like I wanted them to be included, right? I wanted them to know that I was like loved. And now I want them because it's what I want. Right? Now it's I want them because it lights me up and it fills me up. Whereas I needed them for a different reason previously.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa.
Erica,
Yeah.
you're beyond a chart. You don't even need this shit. Let's get it off.
No, it's like such a helpful roadmap because you get the reason I like astrology, even though I know nothing about it, the reason I like to have you as my pocket astrologer is because it helps me understand like what's happening sometimes. Because you, okay, like we're all conditioned. We all have our shit. We all came here with something to learn and to do and to grow and to play on this like cosmic playground. And it's like, yeah, sometimes I just want like a manual, like to understand like the fuck is happening to me right now. Like, why am I crying? And it's like, did you look, Jacqueline, did you look at the fucking sky? She would never say it like that, but that like there's a moon in it, a full one. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah. Yeah. And then it's in this space with this thing in the retrograde. I'm like, okay, I'll just keep crying. It's fine. Like, like, okay, cool. Like, I don't even need to worry about it. I'm just gonna cry and release or do whatever or sit down for 2 days. And I'm just not gonna have a weird thought about it. So I like this stuff.
I know.
As long as you're the one teaching it to me.
Well, I just appreciate your reflections. And I know that you've spent a lot of time thinking about this. And it's super interesting to me to hear how you've like changed how you experience some of this and how I said that at the beginning of our conversation. I was like, I'm curious to see how things are different now. And they are. And that's another reason why I love it, because it's usually, it's not me, right? It's the stars that are right. I'm just looking at what it says. And it's always, I'm not saying it's always spot on, but it's classic. Like it's never, it's always in style. I don't know how else to say that.
Well, I think too, it's like what I've learned about astrology from our mutual friend Chad is like what we think we know about it, the surface level stuff is not always correct or isn't a really great map all the time. But when you start to learn the in-depth pieces and the houses and the nodes and all of that, it really does provide a helpful, not roadmap, just like map of self. So you don't get lost in like your shit.
No, exactly. I feel like that's why I love astrology so much too, is that it's like, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but it's kind of like that roadmap that's also not conditioned. So like we've all been conditioned. So it's also kind of nice to have something to reflect back on and be like, oh, this is like the completely deconditioned version of like what I could be. And I think that's so insightful too. And that's why I have so much respect for it too, because it is kind of that outline of our soul selves, our spiritual selves, and like a deeper understanding.
And like, not, I really appreciate this conversation, but also like the best part about astrology is like, you don't even fucking need it. Like, it's like, if you just do your own work, it'll all just pop up. And then someone like Jacqueline will show up in your life and just explain it all to you. Like, like, so I think that's it too. It's like, it's just another path to help you become who it is you want to be. Right. Like, and I think that like, whatever, whether it's astrology or whatever, that's the best. Like, all of these things are tools just to get you back home and use the one that resonates. And this resonates for us. So awesome. Use what resonates for you, you know?
100%. I know. Thanks for being my friend who will talk to me about it all the time.
Oh, thanks for answering literally the thousands of questions that I asked you about it.
It's so much fun. So much fun.
Tell me about my things.
I love it.
I had a quick question for you, Erica, too. You'd mentioned earlier that we were like kind of talking about the alienated piece. of Aquarius energy, and you mentioned like that was literally my like middle school and high school experience. Obviously, like, you know, you're here now, but could you just touch on a little bit more of that like transformational journey for you, and like how you see yourself now very differently than that alienated person when you were in school?
And I shouldn't, it didn't stop at high school. Who the fuck am I kidding? Like it went on for quite a while. It went on until like 3 years ago. If not just like 1.5. So yeah, so I for me, and I think that this is true with a lot of people, there's a you know you are. There are things you like, there are things you don't like, there are things you know you should do, there are things you know you shouldn't do. And you feel it, right? Like it's like really clear in you. And it gets muted, I think, as you stop listening to it. But mine didn't really mute too well. But like there are things that I knew were right for me, but they were always in disagreement, or they were often in disagreement with like the people, I wouldn't say the people I loved per se, but like the people I admired, or what society said, or these rules. So like, and even like from like things I wanted to wear to things that, you know what I mean? Like how I wanted to spend my time. I knew it, but I just wanted to fit in. And I was like, well, I'm going to put aside all of the things that make me weird in an effort to fit in. And then I can be weird. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was in college, they said this, and this is the worst advice I've ever gotten, but I thought it was the best advice at the time. It was, in the game of office politics, learn to play ball. And I will never forget that. And it was like, and so that's how I tried to live. Like, okay, this is what they do, so I'll do it. And then when I'm in there, then I can make change. And it's like, or I can change, or I can show me. But it's like, you just keep feeling like you have to continue the charade. You know, like you never really get to show you. And so that sucks. And it feels really bad. You drink and you do drugs and like, or you work too much. Those were all of my things, right? Like, and then I like hit a point. Actually, what happened was someone reached out and was like, basically, like, I think it's time for you to start your spiritual journey. That's what happened. And I was like, huh? Who are you? What do you mean? This is weird. Like, literally reached out on Facebook and was like, I have something to say to you. And I was like, who the fuck are you? Like, and I hadn't talked to this person in like 6 months. And I only knew that person for like 3 months. But then I started to go on that journey and I realized all of this stuff, everything I'm sharing with you is what I come to realize. And it's like, now I feel very comfortable in my own skin. Very like to my husband's dismay at times, I choose me over everything. As in like, if I think I would have more fun with myself than going out somewhere, I will stay home. Like it is not worth it to me to put on a charade, to like I know how to interact with people. I get it. Like, and I can have a good time, but like, I will not choose someone else's comfort for the most part over my own. Obviously, I'm still evolving as a human. Obviously, like boundaries are, I think, a forever lesson. Like, but for the most part, I could sit in a silent I could sit silent with somebody, even if they hated it. So I think that's the piece. Like I learned to accept me, and I learned how to start showing up as me. And now it's really difficult not to be me. And because of the work I've been doing, the subtle shifts are clear. When I'm not happy, when I'm not aligned, it's so loud now that I can choose. But when I choose wrong, I know it. And it doesn't feel good anymore. I can't mute it. And I don't want to. That's the other piece. I don't want to mute it. So I'd rather just sit in my shit, figure it out, and then move on. It's a really long-winded answer, but there it is.
So powerful, though. Like so much of that is just so much wisdom there. I'm just like, yeah, I'm so taken aback of just like, wow, how powerful to really step into that version of you and now like experience it and have also that like self-awareness of recognizing that it's now louder when you're out of alignment versus like your like soul self, your true self wanting to like come out. It's like now, I don't know, that like that switch for me was like really powerful to hear you say. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting space to be in. Jacqueline knows this. It's like, I used to have all of this language. Like I could talk this way to you all day. Like for the past
Sure.
5 years ago, I could say all this stuff to you and I would really think that I meant it, but I knew I didn't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But to be on the other side of it now, to really like, I had a thing that happened recently and I just realized, hey, I need to make the shift. And on Monday I shifted, and not because I was like forcing myself, like this is who I am. And if I don't do this, then I'm not that person. And it was just like, it was a difficult conversation. It made me uncomfortable. Actually, no, I thought it would. I had it. It wasn't uncomfortable. And I was like, oh, this is just who I am now. Like it does become this easy, but you can't talk about it. And I call this out because I did it. You can't fucking read all the books and talk about it all the time. Like you got to do the work to literally be in a place to flip the switch. And that's a lot of quiet time. That's a lot of like reflection. And that's the piece that like for me and Jacqueline is that this is for me, the most important thing that I can share ever anymore is like from the intellectual piece. So many of us, we do and we read when the work is not the things that you're reading and doing. Like, and that it feels good to be on this end. Like I was saying, like, I'm happy. Like I'm happy. Like I don't think I've ever been truly happy in my adult life, even though everything looked that way. And now I'm like, I'm one of those weirdos that's like not on the internet living a happy life. Like what? But that's where most people are. You know, like that's where most people can go if they want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, this is our obviously first impression, first meet. I didn't know you before this, but you can feel that. Like you can feel your embodiment like through the screen. Like I can feel that genuine like component that you're talking about, which is just very powerful. And yeah, I don't know. Just thank you for being here because I feel like it's inspiring and provoking something in me.
Well, I really appreciate that. And you guys, I'm trying to get Bri to be my friend. So I think I got her hooked. I think
Nailed it.
I think we could go on walks in
Yeah.
Wash Park with our
100%.
like coffees. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
I want to come out. I want to push the stroller.
Okay.
Come.
Do it.
Let's go.
We got space.
Yeah.
We got a whole state for you, Jacqueline.
Is there something wrong with me? My best friends keep moving to Denver.
No, it's a sign.
Sign.
It's a sign for you.
Yes.
Just get Aubrey to college.
Yep.
And you're free.
10 years. Stay put. I'm on my way.
Every vacation, come here.
Yes.
I've actually, yeah, that's a side story, but I was looking at flights today. Anyway, so, okay, Erica, I could listen to you all day and I probably will continue to. And this is just a small snippet. And I honestly feel honored that you're sharing like this side with us here. And I know you did a ton of like in real time lessons on the Erica Ballard show. If you still host it.
I don't host it's well, yeah, I host it. It's there.
Okay, it still exists in the Ethernet. Yeah. So that's a good resource for anybody looking for in real time like lessons from years leading to this. But I was gonna jump to where can we find you? And the answer is nowhere.
No, you can find me you can find me places. I am around. I just like I saw someone on the street recently and they were so sweet. They're like, I follow you on Instagram. And I was like, what do you follow? like what do I post? But yes, I'm on Instagram. I watch a lot of mom reels and like comedian clips on my Instagram and like where should I eat in Denver? So so I have a whole list. But yeah, I'm at the Erica Ballard. I think that's what it is. At the Erica Ballard is my Instagram. And then you can email me Erica at IamEricaBallard.com. So like I'm a real functioning person on the internet. I just in real life and on the internet. But I've just taken a break. Like if people want to coach with me, like they just email me now. People want me to like speak. They just email, like send me a message. I don't do much promotion at this time. I think it's the season I'm in my life, but also like I know what I'm building to, and it's coming and it's gonna be great. But we're just not there yet. And that's okay.
That's perfectly okay. I'm so excited to be on the ride for that.
Oh, yeah, you'll get all of the messages and tears and phone calls about it.
Better.
You can be on them too.
Yes, the hearts. Yes. Yeah, I'm so excited to see what you're cooking up. I know it's going to be great from this 45-minute conversation. But one final question that we also would love if you would share is someone who's currently cultivating their own essence. What would be one piece of advice that you would share with them?
Yeah, the first thing that popped up is get quiet. Like going back to like stop reading and doing all the fucking things, like get quiet, sit with your own thoughts, see your own shit, and then learn how to be at peace in all of them. So it's like my advice would be to get out of the books and get quiet.
Thank you. This has been like absolutely phenomenal. I'm so grateful that you came on the show. We feel so honored, and just thank you for your time.
Of course. Thanks for having me, guys. This is the best.
The best. So we just got off the phone with Erica. Stopped recording. Yeah. And I was about to react and say that your question about how she went through her journey was the best part of the whole thing. I'm just so glad that she shared that story.
Me too. Like so much wisdom just wrapped in a beautiful little bow. Like I know that's not what her transformational journey probably felt like, but her articulating it and sharing it was very insightful and inspiring.
Yeah, it's really cool to see the transformation. And I love that she, obviously has used astrology at different points in her life, but it has never been the thing that really helped her guide her back to herself. There were definitely a lot of conversations about it and probably pieces that did impact her. But yeah, along the way, she obviously took on a lot of tools, which is why, in the conversation, I was like, yeah, and listen to her podcast if it still exists, which it sounds like it does, because she's really open about it. She got there. So
yeah. Thank you so much for bringing her on, and bringing her into your life. She is amazing, and I'm excited to get to know her more. She's fabulous. This episode was incredible. And for those of you who are listening, thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you got some brilliant insights, as I know we did. We would love if you would be so kind to rate The Modern Woman Show, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Instagram. And remember, always let your essence shine.